Good evening. This is History of the Promise, Bible Handbook Study, presented by He Promise Publications. We are doing episode 13 today, which is Genesis chapter 9. Kind of funny. Right out the gate, I was going to try to be more serious today, and my glasses are dirty. And I keep seeing a spot here, a spot there, and it's really working my nerves. I meant to start a little bit earlier, but I decided to clean off the beach a little bit, move some sticks away. And looking down in the water for some little fish. My kids were down here earlier and they saw some baby fish near the shore. I think it's probably a little bit late for me to see them, but there is something, to it. Anyway, this is going to take us a little bit longer today. We have 29 verses in this chapter, Genesis chapter 9. So we're going to get to it. Genesis chapter 9 has to do with Yahweh makes a vow, sin resumes, and Noah dies. Now, quick backup. Yesterday I told you there are a couple of questions at the end of yesterday's study that promises that weren't in that chapter. Well, the promise that they were speaking of was in that chapter. As soon as I looked back, I was like, I'm not going to redo this whole thing. I had a whole nother promise in mind when I was thinking about that. It's the promise we're going to hit today. Okay? So let's get on. Verse 1. Yahweh blessed Noach and his sons and said to them, "Be fruitful, increase in number, and fill the earth." Now here we go. Everybody who lives on this planet right now and everybody before us is a descendant of Noah. One of the three lines. We are a direct descendant of Noah, because there's only him and his sons that were here to populate the earth at this time, okay? All right, every animal on the earth will now fear and dread you, and on every bird of the sky. Everything that moves along the ground and all the fish in the sea are delivered into your hand. Real quick, and I normally don't, I normally read through it, but I want you to think about that. He said, every one of these animals will now dread you. Not just fear you, not be uncomfortable with you, but dread you. And so that says two things: that before the flood, the animals were not afraid of man. And there's a good reason for that, and we'll get into it. Normally when something's afraid of you, they're lower on the food chain than you are. And we'll just leave it at that. Because we will talk about it. Verse 3. After the flood is over, says, "Every animal that lives will be food for you. As I gave you the green herb, I have given everything to you. But do not eat flesh with its life in it, its blood. I will certainly require accounting for your life's blood. At the hand of every animal I will require it. At the hand of man, even at the hand of every man's brother, I will require the life of man. Whoever sheds man's blood, his blood will be shed by man. For Yahweh made man in his own image. Be fruitful and increase plentifully in the earth and fill it with people." Yahweh spoke to Noah and to his sons with him, saying, "As for me, behold, I established my vow with you and with your children after you, and with every living creature that is with you, the birds, the livestock, and every animal of the earth with you, of all that go out of the ship, even every animal of the earth. I will establish my vow with you. All flesh will not be cut off any more by the waters of the flood. There will never again be a flood to destroy the earth." Yahweh said, "This is the token of the vow which I make between me and you and every living creature that is with you for all generations to come," even up to our day right now. "I set my rainbow in the cloud, and it will be a sign of a vow between me and the earth. I will bring a cloud over the earth, that the rainbow will be seen in the cloud. I will remember my vow, which is between me and you and every living creature of all flesh, and the waters will be will no more become a flood to destroy all flesh. The rainbow will be in the cloud. I will look at it that I may remember the everlasting vow between Yahweh and every living creature of all flesh that is on the earth. So this is why the rainbow is here. It is not only to remind us that he's not going to bring another flood on this planet, but to remind him, not that he needs remembering. Another thing I want to bring up, in other books that are not in the known Bible, they talk about the rainbow circling the throne of God. So when he said this is his rainbow, it's his. He's actually sharing with us, giving us something as a token of his promise that is sacred enough to make a circle around his own throne. Okay? Verse 18, the sons of Noach who went out from the ship were Shem, Ham, and Japheth. Ham is the father of Canaan. These three were the sons of Noach, and from these the whole earth was populated. Noach began to be a farmer and planted a vineyard. He drank of the wine and got drunk. He was uncovered within his tent. Ham, the father of Canaan, not just a place, but he had a son named Canaan, saw the nakedness of his father and told his two brothers outside. Shem and Japheth took a garment and laid it on both their shoulders, went in backwards and covered the nakedness of their fathers. Their faces were backwards, and they didn't see their father's nakedness. Noach awoke from his wine and knew what his youngest son had done to him. He said, Canaan is cursed. He will be a servant of servants to his brothers. He said, blessed be Adonai, the God or Yahweh of Shem. Let Canaan be his servant. May Yahweh enlarge Japheth. Let him dwell in the tents of Shem. Let Canaan be his servant. Noach lived 350 years after the flood. All the days of Noach were 950 years, and then he died. Now, like I've said, I've read the known Bible once completely, almost 1.5 times, plus working on this study. And every time I read it, something new comes to me. Later on, when we get to Exodus, actually it's in the end of Genesis, the Canaanites are brought up again. And these verses, as a lot of us know, are the verses that were used to enslave West Africans, those of African descent, as most know it. And these were the verses that were even used against the slaves in the southern states when they were brought to them. That you are supposed to be our slaves, it says in the Bible. That's why I tell you, the Bible, people take what they want out of the Bible and make it fit so it fits their desires, not a truth. There's a spot, Lord, I hope you guys stay with me. Wow. This is one of those times where I want to talk. And I swear, if I say what I want to say about those specific verses about Canaan being a servant, this whole video is probably going to drop. My phone's probably going to fall in the water, and so I'm going to hold it. And I'm going to tell you, sometimes it's not easy to hold my own thoughts. But everything, sometimes Yahweh doesn't desire everything to be said at that moment, okay? And he doesn't desire me to move further. So let's just get away from my brain and what my mouth wants to say and go into the questions and comments and remarks section for chapter 9. It's one of those times I had to look back and make sure I had the right one. All right, so first question. And remember, guys, I'll throw out there real quick. If you are getting anything from this Bible study and you are enjoying it, please hit the like button and subscribe. We're going to be here for a minute getting these things out, but help us get the word out if you see something in it. All right, let's do these questions and comments. How many people live on the earth at the time how many people live on earth at the time of this chapter? How many people, humans, are living on the earth when this chapter is written? Feel free to stop me. If you have to stop and go grab your Bibles or Google, get them together. All right, next. What does Yahweh tell Noach and his sons to do? He specifically tells them to do something. And it's literally something only they could do, because if it wasn't for them and they didn't do it, we wouldn't be sitting here. Earlier in the story, Yahweh gave men fruits to eat. Fruits, herbs, plants. Let's just make it easy. Now he gives them meat to eat as well. What must they do before they eat the meat, or meat of animals, animal flesh, and why? Go ahead and pause me. Go and look back. What must they do before they eat animal flesh? And why did he tell them to do it? All right. Oh, good. I was going to jump and say this while I was reading. I'm glad I didn't. Next comment. Earlier in the story, before we got to this point, Yahweh says that the life of man will now be set at no more than 120 years. They were living up to 960, they were living. They were here for a minute. And not old and crunchy and crockety. They were living, okay? How does the eating of meat... Now, I'm going to throw science at you guys in a minute. I'm going to tell you what your scientists say. How does the eating of meat help accomplish this, of decreasing the life to 120 years, according to the medical and scientific studies on the eating of meat that can be researched in our time? Now, if you don't write this question down and look later, I expect you to pause me, because the stories are all out there now. Lifestyle diseases. One of the things I do, outside of having been a nurse, is I am a vegan soul food chef. That means I make soul food with plants. And from what I hear, I do it okay. I'm okay. Lifestyle diseases. And all you got to do is a little research. All lifestyle diseases can be traced back to the eating of meat, animal flesh, and in abundance, okay? Heart disease. I'm going to tell you, plants do not put cholesterol in your veins, your blood vessels. Animal flesh does. And so you get heart disease and stroke from clogged vessels. All right. Diabetes has also been related to high eat meat. So these have been the three big money makers. And now, after years, and like I said, I've been a nurse for a second, of not telling people that you need to eat right and you won't be sick. Now they're telling people, because there are so many people sick with these diseases, that instead of it being a money-making venture, I'm going to tell you, big money in diabetes, and those of you with diabetes know how much money you spend. Instead of it being a money-making venture, it is now crippling communities. The lifestyle diseases, obesity, all of it are crippling communities. And that is why they're talking about it. That's why veganism is coming back. But that is how this world started. We were supposed to be eating plants. People got to acting foolish. This is me, my narration, okay? People got to acting foolish. Yahweh said, I'm tired of these people. They don't do nothing but evil all the time. I'm tired of these people. I'm going to take their lifespan down to no more than 120 years. And people don't realize he's a God of order. I keep saying this. He's a God of order. He didn't say how he was going to do it. But all of a sudden after this flood, God says, oh, by the way, you can eat meat. Now, granted, there weren't a lot of plants around to eat. And people weren't eating meat before the flood. There might have been some trying to go that direction, but it wasn't the big thing. People were still eating plants. The animals weren't afraid of people. This is what I was going to say earlier. The animals didn't have any dread of people because they weren't on a food chain at that point. The animals were eating plants. The people were eating plants. But now, the animals are on the food chain. Dread. So this is huge. And welcome lifestyle diseases. Now we're eating meat. Craving meat. Meat is the thing. If you don't have meat, you're considered poor. And I used to tell some people I knew from West Africa. I knew a lot. I've talked to a lot of people over the years. And they talked about how poor they were because they couldn't have meat that often. I said, no, you're rich. You're in good shape because you don't have a lot of meat to eat. Anyway, it's something I want you guys to think about. And this is something you can research on your own. I'm not sitting up here lying to you. The research is out there. So let's see. I get on a tangent and then I lose where I'm at. And it's evening, so the bugs are attacking. But I like to come on down here in the evening. So, where are we? Give me a sec. Okay, so I don't know if I read it. I'm just going to read it because I'm not sure if I read it. So, Yahweh told Noach that all animals, birds, and fish will now be afraid of man. This must mean that they weren't afraid of men before. Think about why they have cause to be afraid now and not before the flood. Just think about it. I already told you, but it's something new. Did Yahweh say there would never be any type of flood again? Think about it. Did he say, there'll never be any more floods? What exactly did he say concerning floods? And in that area, what sign did he give us that we see often? That he would never flood the entire earth again like he did then. Next question. Have we, as a people, lessened the meaning of the rainbow? Now, I know as soon as I said that, y'all might be thinking I'm thinking of certain groups, and I'm not. Trust me, I'm not. But most of us don't know the importance of the rainbow. We don't know what it is that he gave us. We don't know. A lot of people don't know the promise attached to it. They see the rainbow like, oh, look, a rainbow. Everybody loves to see a rainbow. But they have no idea what seeing that rainbow is signifying. It's restating a promise. Okay? And if you look on the picture of the books, when I first made the first covers for this book, and then I did a second row of covers because I really didn't like the first covers, I asked my daughter what she think, and she said, do them in rainbow colors. And she said it because the rainbow is around the throne of God. So we actually did them in descending rainbow colors. It's just a trippy thing. It worked out like that. All right, let me get you guys. We're going to go a few minutes over today. Sorry. All right. So, Ham. Ham commits a sin. A sin that breaks one of Yahweh's 10 commandments or laws. Now, granted, they haven't had the 10 commandments come out officially, as far as we know, in Exodus with Moses. But if the sons of Adam, the original sons, knew that sacrifices were to be made, I would think that they knew laws that they were supposed to keep as well. Okay? So, Ham commits a sin. A sin is anything that breaks one of Yahweh's 10 commandments or laws. If you break one of the 10 commandments or laws, you have committed a sin. So go back to the beginning of the book and read through the 10 commandments. And that's why we put them in the beginning of each of the books. Read through the 10 commandments. And here's where you get to figure this out. I could tell you, but I'm not gonna. Because there's so much speculation as to what Ham really did. I mean, some people say he raped his father, all kind of stuff. This is simple. And it's not that huge, and it'll show you that Yahweh is serious about the laws he puts out because he knows what can happen down the line if they're broken. So, go back, look at the 10 Commandments. If you don't have the book, you can look at the 10 Commandments. Here we go. Google it. Google the 10 Commandments and figure out which of the 10 Commandments that Ham broke. Okay? Go ahead and pause me if you need to, and I'll be here. Now, how often have we broken the same commandment that Ham did? Thinking nothing of it. Okay? Now, Noah does not directly punish or curse Ham, but he curses his son, Canaan. What is the curse that Noah puts on his grandson, Canaan? Remember Canaan for later in the story. I want you to stick Canaan in your mind because they come up a lot. And it can be drawn back to this moment. Why Canaan and Canaanites have and are the issues that they are. It can be drawn back to this moment in time. Final question, guys. How old was Noach when he died? How old was Noach when he died? All right, y'all. That is the end of chapter 9. A lot of information in this chapter. Like I said, if you have the book and you know the workbook questions, go through it again. If you don't, pick out the questions that you really, I say do them all, but the ones that caught you. Because if something caught you more than other, that's for you. That's what you need. Like when I'm going through this and you guys hear me stop, sometimes when I stop talking for a second, something I just read, even though I've read it before, I was the pen that wrote these things out, it catches me. So if there's something that caught you, run with that. Run with that. Like always, I'm asking for a blessing that your ears hear, just like mine when I'm doing this with you. And that each time we go through a chapter, you will get something from it that will help start to build the foundation of the history of the promise. If you're interested in buying the workbook set, you can buy one of them. There are 7 volumes. You can buy one, you can buy all 7. They're all in ebook form. And you can find them at www.mia, and that's MIA, multiplied, one word, Mia multiplied, .net. www.miamultiplied.net. Don't forget, if you're enjoying this, go ahead and please hit the like and subscribe to our channel. And we're going to keep at this for a while. So you guys have a good evening, and looking forward to tomorrow. Bye.